Okay, so this week we are going to start looking at a book called Matilda, which is written by Roald Dahl and illustrated by Quentin Blake. Before you start watching this video for today's lesson, you need to have listened to the reading of chapter 1, which is also attached to our page. Okay, so after you've read that chapter, I want us to have a think about the following questions, okay? Have you read this before? What do you already know about Matilda? What do you think you could be friends with Matilda, and who the author and the illustrator are? Have a little think about it, pause the video, write down anything that you would answer about these questions, talk to someone if you've got someone near you, and then unpause the video and I will talk to you about my suggestions. Okay, so what we know about her: she's quite extraordinary. She can do things that other children can't do. She's living in a family with people that don't appreciate her. They're not very nice. I think you guys have got parents like that. They don't treat her very nice at all, do they? The author is Roald Dahl. The illustrator is Quentin Blake. And from looking at the what we've read so far, she seems a nice enough girl, doesn't she? And it's someone that we could be friends with. Okay, so what I want us to have a look at is our impression that is built up from the author. Okay, so what does the author think about the parents and their children? So at the very start, the author's very sarcastic about the way that parents talk about their children, and that's understandable that parents would speak about their children like that, quite protective, interested in what they're doing, want to show off. Sure, when your parents are out and about with their friends and your family say, oh, such a body can do this, and they've done really well in school and they're now doing this. So what words they use? I'm just going to pick out some words that they used. Okay, so they said blinded by adoration. So that means that they love them no matter what. And the author talks a little bit about the fact that they're blinded by it, like they can't see any wrong. And sometimes that is the case, isn't it? That, our parents should see the good in us, no matter what. They would always love us and see the best in us. And the other one is doting parents. They really, really putting them everything into their child, and they look on lovingly. They dote on them. They want to do everything they can to make them happy. Okay. When we look at how the author describes the parents and then the description of the Wormwood family, how do you think that changed then? Okay. So have a little think, pause it. You don't need to worry about looking back at the text, because you can actually use your inference skills, your detective skills, to think about how the Wormwood family are represented. Okay, well, the author talks about them as being not very nice. On the blurb, it calls them stupid and says that they're not very nice, and gives the impression they're not very nice to Matilda. They're quite resentful of her. They don't appreciate her. They don't want her to, they think she should stay quiet and not be noisy, not even speak. So they're not very kind to her. Okay, so why do you think Matilda is extraordinary? What can she do that other children can't? What is Mr. Wormwood's opinion of books and Matilda? Have a little think about these questions, write down some suggestions, and then come back to me and we can go through them. Okay, well, Matilda is extraordinary because she is able to read a large amount of text at a very, very young age. She is also able to use her initiative. That means she's able to do things for herself, because obviously she's had times when her parents have just not been interested. So she's probably gone and explored for herself and found ways of doing it. She said that she'd make hot chocolate and things like that. And for a child of 4 to be able to do that, your parents would probably be like, oh, be careful, and show that they're caring and worried about what you could do. You could hurt yourself. So she's quite extraordinary by what she can do. And this second question kind of goes hand in hand. What can she do that other children can't? Well, other children are able to read, but at that level, for a child of 4 to be reading adult books and to walk from her house to the library on her own, and be very aware of, I'm sure you guys have got brothers and sisters who are about that age or similar, and can you imagine them walking to school from your house and things like that? So it's about the fact that she's always acts like a grown-up when she isn't. And Mr. Wormwood is not interested in books at all. He doesn't see the point in them. He doesn't understand why she can't just sit down and watch the television and just be quiet and not be interested in books. He's not interested at all, is he? So that's just his opinion. Okay, so what you're going to do today is you're going to use what you know from chapter 1 and you're going to think about these statements that I've put on. Okay, so I said, tick the following answer which best describes Matilda from what you have read in the story. So, Matilda is defiant and doesn't do as she is told. Matilda is an extraordinary child. Or Matilda struggles, but she tries really hard. Okay, so what I want to do is I want you to pick one of those answers. You've probably seen some of these in on reading assessments before. And that's fine for you to pick, but the biggest thing is here, you need to explain using evidence from the text. Now, if you haven't got a copy of the text, you can listen to my reading of the chapter 1 again, but don't worry, because you don't need to put it word for word. Your answer should reflect what you know from the text. So tell me, why is she such an extraordinary child? Please make sure we're writing in full sentences with capital letters and full stops. And I've given you that many lines for a reason, because there is enough for you to be able to explain your answer. Okay, and I'll see you for the next lesson tomorrow.